remaining.
All right, welcome everyone back to the Dota 2 Canada Cup. As I know you guys didn't see what just happened, but I was fumbling like crazy with all my settings there. Whatever, we got it all set up, and we're ready to cast this one. But once again, I'm Niz. Welcome to the Dota 2 Canada Cup. We are in our second match of the night for Group C, fifth match overall of Group C. We've got Team eHug going up against compLexity. We just saw eHug manage to take a win over Rebel Death, so they're now at 1-1 in our group stage. compLexity sitting at 1-0 right now. They're going to not only be featured in this game, but in our game after this as well. That should be starting around 8:30 tonight, if you go by the Eastern time. But this is quite an important game for eHug. They need to win this to potentially stay in contention, to move, to put themselves in a top 2 spot in the group, which is required to stay in the tournament. As only the top 2 from the group will advance to our next round, which will be the playoffs, and that'll be the quarterfinals. 8 teams in total will be there, and it's single elimination from that point on. compLexity, well, they pretty much just have to get a win here. If they get a win, then they've secured their spot into the next round. We already know that Not Today is sitting at 2-1, and they look like they're going to advance to the next round. So compLexity looking to join them with a win here.
Remaining.
That, of course, doesn't mean our final match then between compLexity and Rebel Death won't matter, as it would, because Rebel Death obviously wanting to take a game. They don't want to finish 0-3 in the group, and they'd like to essentially tie eHug for third, even though if it mattered, eHug would technically win that tiebreaker, but I don't think there actually is a definitive tiebreaker for our third place overall. If you want to find out more about the Dota 2 Canada Cup, you should go check out DotA2.ca. That's their site, and it has all the information with the schedules, the standings, all that stuff. You can even see the schedule all the way up through to the finals, so you can see where each of the teams that have advanced so far, where they're placed in those quarterfinals and who they'll be playing. We'll give you a little bit better idea of who will be playing who as we round out our last game of tonight, as we'll have a pretty good idea of who's going to be playing who when it comes to the teams that will have advanced from Group C. Besides that, you can check out the in-game ticket. That's it's $8.99 in-game, and it gives you a Sven set, gives you access to all the games. 12.5% of that goes towards increasing the prize pool as well. We're getting closer and closer to $12,000, so definitely go buy that ticket and support the tournament and support the players. Beyond that, you can also check out the official Twitch channel for the Dota 2 Canada Cup at twitch.tv/Dota 2 Canada Cup. They also have the game's cast in a whole bunch of different languages as well. But we're cast in this one, and you've chose to go here. So unless you just ran away as I said that, welcome. And hopefully you're going to enjoy the cast. And I'm always open to feedback, so let me know.
5 seconds remaining.
But let's catch up in the draft here. We've got Axe, Sniper, Disruptor, and Lena getting banned out by eHug. Troll, Batrider, Phoenix, and we await the 4th ban from compLexity. So far, we have Treant Protector was the first pick for eHug. A little surprising there, but they're going to pair it up with a Storm Spirit. They're going to be going up against a Queen of Pain and a Shadow Demon. So we're going to see our second Shadow Demon of the tournament. This time coming out pretty early, and I find that quite surprising. But we'll have to see how it works out for compLexity. Their 4th ban was indeed a Juggernaut. Shadow Demon, man. I feel like it's been forever since this hero has been relevant, but now we've seen him 2 games in a row.
10 seconds remaining.
Is this something new? Like, is this the return of Shadow Demon? I don't think so, but it would be awesome if it is. He's one of my favorite support heroes. I feel like I say that about so many heroes, and I guess it is true. I do like a lot of heroes in Dota, but Shadow Demon's definitely he's up there. And they're gonna pair it up with a Slark. Wow. Life's going to be hard for eHug's offlaner if they're going to be going up against Shadow Demon Slark. Not only are you going to get disrupted by the Shadow Demon, on the back of that, there's going to be 2 illusions of you attacking you. The Slark's going to be able to land pounce, no problem. He's going to be able to deal damage with the Dark Pact. He's going to be able to stick on you and deal a bunch of damage to you just through right click. Shadow Demon's going to be able to use his W, Soul Catcher. I can never remember the name of that ability, to amplify the damage that you're taking. It's going to be a tough lane, and that's not even considering a third hero. So maybe eHug's going to look for an offlaner that's going to be able to abandon and hop into the jungle. As I don't really expect any offlaner to get much in that offlane. There is the possibility they could pick up a Clockwork. They are on the dire side, so they have the ability to use that little cogs trick to kind of just divert the creep wave into the trees and control the lane equilibrium that way. But beyond that, it's going to have to be an offlaner that's going to be able to abandon. Which makes it a little bit surprising that compLexity actually banned out the Phoenix. I don't know, maybe Phoenix pairs well with Treant Protector. I don't see it. Skywrath Mage is going to be the pick for eHug, so we see their support duo, or most likely their support duo, with the Skywrath Mage and Treant Protector. There is the off chance that Treant Protector isn't support, and maybe he's in the off lane, but that is something incredibly rare that I don't think we'll see, but we also don't see a Treant Protector first pick most of the time either. And oh boy, it's going to be another Night Stalker. We saw it played once already in the tournament. That was by, well, it was played by Fluff in the support role. I don't think compLexity is going after support Night Stalker this game, but you never know. We'll have to figure that out when they pick up their 5th hero, as right now they're sitting on potentially 3 core heroes, Queen of Pain, Slark, and Night Stalker. When we consider how that would have to be laned, if all 3 of those are cores, it would most likely be Slark in the safe lane, Night Stalker in the mid, and Queen of Pain in the off lane.
Reserve time.
Which, you're playing Night Stalker against Storm in the mid lane. That's definitely not going to be that ideal. Obviously, coming out of the laning phase, it's great. The silence is terrific going up against the Storm Spirit. But in the laning phase, I don't know. Maybe it is a support Night Stalker. You still have access to that silence, but you don't have to worry about laning the Night Stalker against the Storm Spirit or in that laning phase in mid. Then you get the Queen of Pain against the Storm Spirit, which was for a very long time considered very Queen of Pain favored, but recently it's actually kind of come back. People's understanding of that matchup have kind of shifted it so that the Storm Spirit can at least draw even most of the time, sometimes even coming out ahead. Mainly when he's on the Radiant side, he's got the easier access to the jungle, but for the Dire side, it's a little bit of a further trek, but it still allows him to do okay in the lane.
5 seconds
and it's not so dependent on him actually being in the lane to do well there against the Queen of Pain. eHug, they dipped well into the reserve time, only 3 seconds left on that, but they did pick up the Spirit Breaker. And, well, Spirit Breaker's been getting played a lot as a support, but I think he's going to be in the off lane here. And that's maybe a little bit surprising because, like I said, it's going to be a really tough lane for an offlaner for compLexity. Given that they're going to be going up against Shadow Demon Slark and then whoever the final pick will be for compLexity. And Spirit Breaker's not going to be able to get much in that lane. However, he can just charge away and put pressure on the mid lane if need be. Or maybe they've got some kind of dual lane in the works as well. Maybe it's Treant Protector and Spirit Breaker going to be down there. Maybe I don't really see them putting Skywrath down there with the Spirit Breaker. But maybe there's some kind of, I mean, maybe it's even a safe lane farming Spirit Breaker. I don't think that's the case, but it could be something weird like that. As these are definitely very different or very not very meta drafts so far. Final 2 bans were Zeus and Phantom Lancer. Now compLexity taking their time here with their 5th pick. Like I said, they've got 2 options here. They could pick up another support and run the Queen of Pain in the off lane, Night Stalker mid, Slark safe lane. So they'd pick up another support that would pair with the Shadow Demon. So probably something that Shadow Demon would, set up quite well. We saw it working the disruption into the Light Strike array with the Shadow Demon and Lina. Of course, Lina's banned this time around, so we're not going to see that. But there are other options. Obviously, Leshrac is almost the exact same thing. Kunkka with his Torrent, very similar as well. But it doesn't have to be like kind of an AoE ground target. Well, it's not going to be that at all. It's going to be a Viper.
Dire
So,
team pick.
wow. Let me just take a second here to figure out what's going on. It's either support Night Stalker or support Viper. Actually, no. It could be support Queen of Pain. But then who do they put in the offlane? Night Stalker?
10 seconds.
I think Queen of Pain is their most capable offlaner.
5 seconds remaining.
I don't know. Definitely a very different draft, but also a very aggressive draft coming out from compLexity. And eHug. Pick up the Lycan. Wow. Lycan, when he's in his shapeshift, he's at max move speed, so the Viper and the Viper Strike isn't going to have much of an effect. Beyond that, I don't know, it's not that... I don't see it really exploiting too much of compLexity's draft. There is potentially a weakness in terms of wave clear, but you've got a Queen of Pain. Shadow Demon can always put some points and kind of max that Shadow Poison, depending on how they look to build that. So that'll give them some wave clear. So they do have the potential of wave clear, so it's not even like the push could be
5 seconds
too difficult for them to deal with. I don't know. This is going to be a little bit of a different one, and this is the thing I love about Dota, as you can not always 100% expect what's going to go
Prepare
on.
for battle.
And we're seeing just an example of that as, well, this is a little bit different than I think most people would have expected in terms of drafts. But let's introduce the teams. On the Radiant side, we have Team compLexity sitting at 1-0 right now in the group. Swindlemelons will be playing the Viper. Fly will be on the Shadow Demon. Zizzy will be on the Slark. Z-Freak on the Queen of Pain. And Zizou, or Zizzo, will be on the Night Stalker. For our Dire side, we have Team eHug, and they're potentially setting up a kill here on Zizzy, but they've already shown themselves. So I don't think anything's going to happen. We've got Pandago going to be on the Tramp Protector for them. MJW is going to be on the Skywrath Mage. Infinity is going to be on the Spirit Breaker. Up here we see Gamer123 on the Storm Spirit. And way up here we've got Sorrow on the Lycan. So immediately we take a look at the items and we try and figure out what's going on here. We see a Night Stalker with boots. Is he offlane? I don't know. Swindlemelons has been pulled a little bit on the Viper.
Stupendous!
Worthy
This is weird.
tribute.
This is weird. You can't even really tell by the items. I think the support is a Night Stalker, but it's weird. You can't even tell exactly. I mean, we know Fly pretty much always plays support for them, but there is the possibility of kind of moving around their roles as well. So we can't even rely on who's playing what. Swindlemelons does traditionally find himself in the mid lane here, so we're going to see that again. But it is going to be... Well, we'll set the stage right now in terms of our lanes. It's going to be Viper in the mid lane going up against Storm Spirit and Skywrath. And the fact that Skywrath here tells me that eHug didn't really know what was going on with the lanes either. Infinity on the Spirit Breaker is going to be going up against the Slark and the Shadow Demon, so that's what we expected. Top lane is actually going to be a dual lane between the Queen of Pain and the Night Stalker. This almost seems like something that you see in a pub with two players arguing over the off lane. But obviously this is planned out, and they're definitely not arguing about it. They're going to be going up against a Lycan, Tramp Protector, and now the Skywrath Mage has made his way up here. So it's going to be a 2v3 lane here for compLexity. And maybe we're going to see some rotations coming out from the Night Stalker. Z-Freak trying to pull that creep wave off. to his creep wave, or trying to pull the neutral camp over to his creep wave, but unfortunately not able to do so. Pandago doing a good job of disrupting that pull. But we are going to see a rotation here from Zizu, but we're going to have to look in two places at once, as Z-Freak was getting a little bit of pressure applied to him, and it looks like Zizu was going to go on for gamer 123, but he didn't actually initiate on him, just kind of popped out and said, hey, I'm here. Just so you know, I've made this rotation. I've all of a sudden appeared behind you. Just letting you know that I'm here. I see top rune's going to spawn. It's just going to be a bounty, so we're not going to see NizCast be able to do anything here. Z-Freak playing a little bit of ring around the rosy there with Sero around those trees in the top lane. But he will be okay. He's doing a pretty good job of soaking as much XP as he can. He's almost level 3 already. And Zizo comes up here and joins them once again. So they're really looking to stick with this 2v3 lane up here. And that's going to allow them to get a little bit more XP than their opponents. Of course, when you've got 3 heroes in the lane, you're dividing that XP up 3 ways versus 2. And when you have just 2 heroes in the bottom lane going up against 1, it's much easier to zone out the 1 hero. But we're not going to see that right now. We're going to see a little bit of a man fight between Zizzy and Infinity. Zizzy needs to be a little bit careful here, as a bash and followed up by a charge could have actually got him killed there. I think he would have needed one more attack from the Spirit Breaker and then that combo to come out. Of course, that's relying a little bit on luck, as we are going to see a smoke gank coming in from behind. Gamer123, the Night Stalker, will potentially set up a kill here. Gamer123 getting a lot of return damage, and oh my goodness, the tree armor came out and we almost had first blood going the way of Gamer123, but it was Swindle Melons that got that kill first. We did still see this the Viper go down. And now we're going to see Fly go down the bottom lane. Infinity getting a kill, 1v2. RNG God comes out in spectator chat. We obviously didn't see what happened, but obviously there was a little bit of a bash lord there.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Infinity
attack.
actually charging the mid lane onto the Night Stalker. It's not to actually dive, it's to cancel it and get away from Zizzy in the bottom lane. He definitely would have gone down there if he hadn't done so. Once again, Z-Freak getting forced off to the side here. Pandago doing a good job of actually covering where the Queen of Pain was going to be able to blink to, but he was tanking the creep wave, so he had to back away and it wasn't able to maintain that positioning. But we saw those kills exchanged in the mid lane, but when we take a look at the last hits, we see Viper ahead a little bit. Just 20-6 is the CS for the Viper, whereas the Storm Spirit's at 14-3. So slight advantage there for Swindle Melons. And Zizu looking like he's going to continue to put this pressure on to Gamer123, but Gamer123 has bottled up a haste, so he should be fine.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
In terms of our bottom lane, we see Infinity charging down one more time, just getting to that lane a little bit faster. But he's done quite well, 11-0 CS on the Spirit Breaker in the offlane. He certainly hasn't been zoned out as much as I would have expected. Fly doing focusing a lot more on pulling and stacking in the jungle. As for our top lane, Sorrow, he's at 24-12. He's been farming quite well. He's actually farming a little bit faster than the Slark, is just at 20-6. When we take a look at what Z-Freak's able to do, he's at 10-3 right now, so he's actually a little bit behind the Spirit Breaker. But that's okay. He's not that far behind, and he's getting those levels, which is important. He's actually still behind Infinity in terms of XP as well, but it's not significant. It's less than half of a level. And with Infinity managing to get that kill onto Fly earlier on, you'd expect him to be a little bit ahead in terms of XP. And certainly with the amount of rotations that Night Stalker's done away from the top line, it's pretty much been a 1v3 versus the 1v2 that the Spirit Breaker's been up against. See, Z-Freak and Zizu actually aren't that afraid to go on the aggressive here, sensing a little bit of an opening there, sensing that the Treant Protector had moved away from the top lane. I'm getting a little bit of damage in on Sorrow. But when Pandago is able to use that living armor, of course, the global presence, it's very hard to bring down a target like that from just kind of pot shot damage. Where's Gamer123? Sitting really far back in the lane. He knows that this Night Stalker's made a rotation away from the top lane. It's been called out by his teammates, or it could just be game sense as well. There actually wasn't anything that has spotted it. He hasn't walked past any observer wards or anything like that. But they do know. They've got a good idea that he's around there. And notice he did pick up an illusion, and he's using the illusion up here to kind of show that maybe he's up there. But they did just spot him now, so as who's making that rotation. But actually, they weren't sure which one was which, and Gamer123 using a little bit of his mana there on the Electric Vortex, pulling in an illusion. Not the biggest thing in the world, but it was mana that was spent. Interesting that he's actually elected to put that point into Electric Vortex. We actually see a lot of players skip that point in Electric Vortex and electing to get a little bit later. I like to have it when I'm playing Storm Spirit. I'm not the best, certainly not the best Storm Spirit in the world. Far from it, but I like to just have that little disable there. As Infinity putting some pressure on to Fly, but with the TP from Zizzo, it's going to be completely turned around, and Fly's actually going to get the kill there. So good. TP there coming out from Zizzo, making sure that they're able to turn that around and get another kill for the side of compLexity. That evens the total at 2-2. Z-Freak getting harassed back a little bit here on the top lane. But I have to say, compLexity, I didn't expect these lanes, but so far they're working out. You know, they're certainly not ahead by a large margin. I actually think they're slightly behind right now, but they're not that far behind. And coming forward, like coming out of the lanes, they need, if they get a couple good pickoffs, they could be sitting in a pretty good position. But with that said, eHug, I mean, they've got the much easier to play lineup, and well, I guess ball's going to be in compLexity's court, even with eHug having a slight advantage coming, or potentially coming out of the lane phase here. As we will see a charge from the Spirit Breaker onto the Shadow Demon once again. Fly not able to get the Disrupt off on Infinity before the charge came through. Then he lands the Nether Strike, and as soon as Fly comes out of that disruption, he's going to go down. Indeed he does. And Infinity's going to go down as well, as Zizzy was just right-clicking him down the whole time with Z-Freak TPing on in. They're able to get that kill, and then the Sonic Wave comes out from Z-Freak, getting the kill onto Pandago as well. So it goes, it's a double kill for compLexity down there. The kill's split between the Slark and the Queen of Pain. You see 400 gold or so going the way of compLexity as a result of that. Fly TP's on into the top lane. That was maybe a little bit aggressive. Never mind. It's still, MJW's very close to 6, but he wasn't quite 6 yet. Had he been 6, I think that would have been maybe a little ill-advised coming out from Fly. We will see Sorrow going for the standard Vlads as his first item on the Lycan. Looks like it's going to be Tranquils for the Shadow Demon. We don't know what MJW is going to go with in terms of boots. Some players liking the arcane boots on the Skywrath, some just preferring to go with the treads and kind of double null talisman. But Zizou TPing on in here with the with Z-Freak, sorry. We'll get the kill on MJW. Sorrow, oh, he's getting so low.
As if I wasn't slippery enough already.
Z-Freak's going to chase him down, slow him down with a Shadow Strike, and I cannot believe Zizzo survived there. That one wolf was chasing him down, just need one more auto attack, but he managed to get away. I was a little hesitant to look away. I was like, the Lycan's getting low. They could potentially chase him down, and they tried to, but they weren't able to finish him off. And just like the wolf wasn't able to chase down the Night Stalker and get the kill there. Obviously, the living armor on the Treant Protector playing a role in all that, as Pandago's been on point with his tree armor so far this game, and well, I guess that's to be expected of players of this caliber. MJW getting a null talisman, so it looks like he may elect to go with that double null talisman treads kind of build on the Skywrath Mage, or maybe he's just getting, I don't know, we'll see. But most likely that's what's going to be coming up from him.
Dire's middle tower.
Looks like Swindlemelons is going to be going after the mech on the Viper. So pretty standard item there coming out for the Viper. He even popped the Buckler in the mid lane to help his creeps push a little bit harder. But with Gamer123 rotating in here, I think Swindle Mullins will probably back away, and indeed he will, as he already did see MJW there, so he couldn't really afford to get pulled by the Electric Vortex on the Storm Spirit while a Mystic Flare was laid down on top of him. Pandago has fallen a little bit behind in terms of XP. He's been doing a lot of stacking and a lot of like little movements around, so he isn't quite 6 yet. Just recently hit 5. They're trying to get a little bit of XP in that top lane, but oh no, Z-Freak getting caught out as he will go down. MJW, the Skywrath Mage, so valuable going up against the Queen of Pain. The amount of damage that you can put out on that hero is absolutely insane for a support hero. But on top of that, you've got the Silence, which is going to lock down a hero like the Queen of Pain that relies so heavily on her Blink Dagger to keep herself alive. And, well, make sure her positioning is spot on. Fly trying to engage on the mid lane, just trying to secure this area, but now maybe he's found himself in a bad situation as Infinity TP's on in, gets the charge off on Fly. Fly tried to disrupt himself, but not able to get that off in time. Maybe he should have turned around, changed his facing, and he would have got the disrupt off on Infinity before the charge came through. I don't think he would have survived anyways, as Gamer123 was zipping on in on the Storm Spirit. Slark has picked up a Hand of Midas, so we're going to see another one of those. And what do we got flying in here? It's going to be the completion of his Ring of Aquila. And it looks like our support Night Stalker is going to be going after an Urn. Swindle Mullins has finished the mech, and he's got another 900 on hand as well. We're going to see a TP here coming in from MJW. Swindle Mullins playing a little bit more aggressive. That's because he's got backup from the Night Stalker, but the Skywrath Mage also has backup. Pandago TP's on in, and Fly now arrives on the scene. So we've got a 3v3 matchup here in the mid lane, and it's going to become more as both Zizzy and Z-Freak have made their way to the mid lane as well. 5 heroes for the side of Cole, although Zizzy says, you know what, this looks like a little bit of a standoff here. I'm just going to farm up in the side lane, or sorry, in this jungle here. Well, it looks like they are going to try to put this pressure on. They realize that Pandago has been trying to heal up this mid-tier 1 tower. So they said, you know what? If we're going to deal damage to a tower, we're going to finish it off. We're not going to let you constantly heal up these towers. And they do just claim that mid-tier 1 as Z-Freak getting a kill on MGW up by the secret shot, this Observer Ward, giving him vision of that Skywrath's positioning and allowing that kill to happen. But now Infinity's found himself in a little bit of an awkward position. He had just used his Hand of Midas, so that's not going to be an issue. But unfortunately not able to charge away to anywhere. And he charged just on the Night Stalker. And he's going to take a fall here in a second. I'm not sure why he didn't just charge to the mid lane. He did have vision of the creeps in the mid lane. Unfortunately not able to charge. I don't think... I mean, it would have been close whether or not he would have been able to charge through everyone and be able to get away from them before they're able to lock him down. I guess they only have 2 ways of stopping the charge. Because the disruption from the Shadow Demon obviously stops it. The Night Stalker would be able to stop it as well. And I don't believe Pounce should stop it from the Slark. So it should just be those 2 ways of being able to stop the charge from the Spirit Breaker. But speaking of that, we've got another charge on the Spirit Breaker onto Zizzo, but he's quite far. Gamer123 a little bit impatient. It's going to go on before the Spirit Breaker gets there. MJW laid down the Mystic Flare, but it didn't let them a kill, and in turn he goes down, and now Infinity, who canceled the charge maybe a little bit late, goes down as well. And just a little bit of miscoordination there coming out from eHug. Don't think they realized how far away the Spirit Breaker was, or if they did, they thought they would just be able to get the kill without him there because they saw an opportunity and they went for it. But as in hindsight, we can see that that was not the best decision for them. Shadow Blade's going to get picked up by Zizzy. That's going to allow him to maneuver around the fight and pop that and avoid a few things, but also allow him to activate that ultimate, or the passive portion of the ultimate at least, to get his HP pull back up in the middle of the fight.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Z-Freak has picked up a Staff of Wizardry. That could be a few things. I don't think it's Force Staff. It could be Yule's Scepter. As we have seen that before, I think it most likely is just going to be him building into an Egg Scepter. But that will remain to be seen. There is the off chance, too, that it could be a Necro Book. We have seen that as well. But I think it most likely is going to be an Egg Scepter. And if it's not that, it's going to be the Yules. Charge once again. This time on the Night Stalker, but it gets cancelled. As Infinity got about to there. And said, I don't like this. Now the question is, what does compLexity do? They've got this mech up on the Viper, so Viper getting quite tanky. That's going to give them an advantage over their opponents and allow them to push a little bit harder and take these early fights. That's the advantage that mech gives you. And looks like they are going to group as 5 in the bottom lane. Pandago was invis. He did spot this rotation out. So he's in behind them invis. He knows that they're all there. Fortunately, now he's a little bit far, and it's a little bit risky to walk across there and span the gap. Because I think that should break invis, and Zizzo knows that maybe the Treant Protector is going to be trying to come from behind. They've already dropped a sentry. They're trying to set it up and make Pandago walk into it. But Pandago, really patient, staying quite far back. Doesn't walk into that bait. A good play by him, but that's also going to allow his team to potentially set something up in the top lane as they get a kill on the Night Stalker. They even get a decent amount of damage in on Zizzy, who will just make a trip back to the fountain.
Tower is under attack.
I really wish I could disable this. Sorry about that, guys. We already know the Shadow Blade's out there. It's going to be a Yule Scepter for Gamer123. Seen a few Storm Spirits do this recently, and I have to say I kind of like it.
Dire's bottom tower
it's
is
definitely a
under
little
attack.
bit different than your standard Storm Spirit build, but I kind of like it. It has its place, that's for sure. Charge now on the bottom lane. It's going to be on Z-Freak. And Pandago now chooses his timing wisely, comes in from behind, gets the overgrowth. It'll just land on 2, but that'll net them the kill on the fly, and potentially on Z-Freak. There we go. So they have lost MJW in the process, and they're going to lose Infinity here as well, because Swindlemelons is just so tanky on that Viper. He's just able to stand there and just throw out right clicks and not really have to worry about the incoming damage, as most of it wasn't targeting him to begin with, but the little bit that was healed up by the mech. It looks like we may now just have a complete disengage as eHug's going to step back. We do have some Necro Minions running around with Wolf. Sero sitting on level 2 Necro Book. So getting closer to level 3. About 1,000 away from completing that. Swindlemelons picks up a point booster, so Egg Scepter is going to be his next item. Going to earn 1,300 gold on the Shadow Demon, or on the Slark. The Slark. I was thinking Shadow Blade. And it made me say Shadow Demon. These guys, they just don't make it easy for me. They really don't. We see the Egg Scepter fly in on the courier there, so it is completed on Swindlemelons. We're also going to have another one coming out from Zizzo. It's going to take a little bit longer for the Night Stalker to get his delivered to him, but he's working towards it. As for Z-Freak, still just sitting on that one staff of Wizardry. Now he's at 1150. I guess maybe he's waiting for 1,200 gold to get the point booster. As I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. He doesn't really have a slot for it. He could get rid of his Null Talisman to get it, though. MJW still just has those boots and the 2 Null Talismans. I really want to see his boot upgrade choice. As I've mentioned it earlier, and now I just want to show everyone that I was right. So we see compLexity running around Roche Pit, checking. They don't know where their opponents are. Well, 2 of them are actually in the Radiant Jungle. The other ones are in a mixture of mid and top and everywhere in between. See some counter warding here getting done by Fly, taking advantage of the fact that they have a Slark on their side. And they can tell through the use of Shadow Dance and the passive portion of it. Of course, when your enemy has vision of you, you lose move speed and lose health regen, or maybe you can flip it on the other side and say when they don't have vision of you, you gain move speed and gain health regen. But that also allows you to spot out potential or ward locations, and with a little bit of practice on that, and certainly working with your teammate that's on the Slark, It allows for pretty easy counter warding. We see just an example of
Radiant's top
complexity
tower is under attack.
taking full use of that, or making full use of that. So while that was going on, we had a little trade. We had the bottom tier 2 tower going down by complexity, taking that down, and in the top lane, eHug claimed the tier 2 tower. This one a little bit of a slower affair, and I don't know why I haven't switched over to the net worth yet, but we get an idea of where we stand in terms of farm and how those rotations that we've seen, a lot of them actually having been on the back of the Night Stalker, but he's actually only 2, 1, and 3 right now, so only being part of 5 of the 11 kills on the side of complexity. But it feels like he's had a pretty big impact on this game thus far. But we see that our top 2 net worths both belong to complexity. Then the next 3 are all on eHug. In terms of the supports, we definitely have Night Stalker ahead of the rest. Z-Freak didn't really have a chance in hell of getting out of there alive, as that was a pretty easy kill for eHug, but it was an easy kill because they took advantage of Z-Freak's positioning and they executed well, so made sure that they got that kill. Gem's going to get purchased by Pandago on the Treant Protector to help them do a little bit more counter warding. We see the Necro Book has been finished by Sorrow. He's got another 1,400 gold on hand as well. Gamer picked up a point booster, which will help build towards his Bloodstone. As we hear the charge coming in once again, this time it's going to be on the Night Stalker. This Gamer123 is going to jump on in, and oh my goodness, you feel so helpless. You must feel so helpless as a hero trying to farm by yourself on the side of complexity, as there's just, it's not so much global present, but it kind of is. You know, the Spirit Breaker charges, and that's certainly global. As you're going to see now, Swindlemelon's getting caught out because he's trying to be alone. And that's going to be another kill for eHug. We will see a buyback from the Night Stalker and TP on in. Infinity now will charge in on the creeps. So this is a little bit of a weird fight going on here. So we had a buyback, and eHug says, you know what, if they're going to spend the money on the buyback, sure, we'll just back away. We already got our kill on the Viper, so we've got no reason to stay here and enforce a bad situation. Dyer's Courier getting picked out there by, I believe it was Zizzy that picked it off. I think the camera was on it, but I completely missed it. I was looking at the net worth and looking at the minimap. But if it was on the screen, hopefully you guys caught it, because I certainly didn't. But we did have the Bloodstone get finished there by the Storm Spirit. So that'll pair up nicely with his Yule Scepter. It gives him a lot of mana and mana regen to play with. We'll fly. Zizzo. Zizzo's getting charged once again. I don't think this is a kill potential. There's no other heroes for the side of eHug even remotely close to this, as expect Infinity to cancel this. Well, he has charged in quite far. Uh-oh, this is... He doesn't even realize how bad of a position he's just put himself in. I think he realizes now, as he's desperately trying to get the Nether Strike off, but that's not going to happen. He's going to get silenced up by the Night Stalker, and that was maybe a little bit too ambitious coming out from Infinity. But I do want to point out one thing. As he was charging in, ping came out. They knew he was coming, so they not only continued to bait the Night Stalker, but sold it quite well because they knew that the Spirit Breaker was coming. Thanks to this Observer Ward has been pushed out pretty far, a little bit of an aggressive Observer Ward, and that helps spot the Spirit Breaker charges early on, so you can make those rotations and adjust accordingly, but it also gives you a better idea of where he's going. As we see another Observer Ward placed up here in the top lane as well, giving him a lot of vision and trying to protect that top lane as best as they can. But we take a look at the wards on the Dire side, as they've got quite a lot of aggressive wards as well. 2 of them just outside the complexity base, and then another one covering the bottom room.
Is under attack.
Here I am.
As that looks like.
Radiant's
We just had a trade for the tier 1s, and it looks like we're going to be trading the tier 2s as well, as eHug is sitting down here as 3 beating on the tower, but Pandago's close as well. So expect this tier 2 tower to fall. We already lost the one in the top lane.
Radiant's bottom tower
And
has
now we're
fallen.
certainly not going to trade tier 3s. So both teams are going to back. There has been a ping on the mid tier 2. I don't think compLexity is going to commit to that as Fly is already TP'd down to the bottom lane.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So don't think that compLexity is going to look for an engage here, but eHug may. They're still largely together. Infinity's kind of far, but it's a Spirit Breaker.
Radiant's
He can
middle
charge.
tower is under attack. Radiant structures
Double damage
are
sitting in the
fortified.
bottom location.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
This
Dire's
Nature's
top
Guy is
tower
allowing
under
some of
attack.
these heroes to move around kind of undetected as we see MJW taking advantage of that, pairing up with Infinity, who is charging on in, and they're going to use another strike there, and that's just a good pick off on the Slark. I thought they might not have had enough damage there because the Mystic Flare didn't really deal the most damage on the Slark, but with the silence they were able to keep him locked down and stop him from popping that Shadow Dance and just running away. And in the end it was enough. And it was certainly a good pick off for them. The charge, oh, I thought it was in the top lane, but it's not. It's on the Viper instead. As Infinity, relentless with these charges, constantly putting pressure on compLexity. And the Bash Lord, oh my goodness. I'm just waiting for another one. There's got to be another one, right? Apparently not. As there's more action going on as well over here, as we've already gotten a pick off from the Storm Spirit onto the Shadow Demon. And we just saw Swindle Melons go down as well. That forced out a buyback from the Slark, and we're going to see Night Stalker go down, but at the same time the Treant Protector goes down.
Saw me coming.
Wow, the Spirit Breaker now with these kills, he's 6-6 and 4, but he's got a BKB, he's got a Shadow Blade. He's actually making some decent item progression for considering how active he's been on the map. So I was completely wrong about MJW. He went with the Tranquils. And I guess that's a little bit expected now, but I think about it because the boot upgrade took a little while, but a lot of players like to go with that Treads route. We saw, of course, Demon do it a lot in Group A. Because I think he played... Did he play Skywrath every game? I think he may have.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Over here now.
Gamer123 is up to 11 charges on his Bloodstone. Now they'll look to push some pressure on the tier 2. Ooh, Viper Strike comes out from Swindle Melons, but it was attempted at being dodged by the Ball Lightning from Gamer123. Unfortunately not able to Ball Lightning fast enough to get that invulnerability frame there. To disjoint. We do have an AC just completed now by the Lycan. Oh, we've got a team fight forming here as Zizzy's and popped the Shadow Blade and he's in the middle of everyone, and here we go. Mystic Flare is going to go down, but that's going to mark the end of MJW. And now Swindle Melons is on the back foot as he's going to try to run away here, but now Infinity's completely slowed up despite having that BKB on. And oh, Gamer123 is low, but before he goes down, he will be able to chase down Swindle Melons. Keep in mind he has that Aegis. He'll be back up in a second. Infinity low as well. He's going to take a fall. And now what is eHug going to look to do? It looks like they're going to back away as two heroes are running. Gamer123 Ball Lightning's away and he'll just TP as well. As more buybacks come out from the side of compLexity. They really like buyback. Using their buybacks as Swindle Melons bought back there. And it did net them a little bit of an advantage. 500 gold goes their way. Part of that's because they ended up scoring 3 kills on the heroes of eHug. They just completely blew up MJW to start that off, and it's not like they all kind of focused everything they had on MJW. It was all just a Slark. Zizzy got on top of MJW and dropped him so quickly.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
You know, you've got essentially nothing to increase the HP on the Skywrath Mage. Maybe
Dire's
that's
structures are fortified.
another advantage of the Treads there. Just sitting at 929 HP. Treads aren't going to give you that much to keep you alive against a Slark, but a little bit helps, I guess. What do I know?
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Courier goes down, drops the gem on the ground. That's a little bit of a disaster there for compLexity. Now, eHug's going to continue to punish them for it as Gamer123 jumps forward, gets the kill there on the fly, and they're going to look for another one here on Swindlemelons, and indeed they'll get that. Expect this tier 2 tower to fall as Roche isn't available yet. So they're probably going to push this tier 2 tower. They know they don't have buyback, or that buyback isn't possible coming up from Swindlemelons, so it's going to be 60 seconds without the Viper.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And they might choose to actually go uphill, and it looks like they
middle
will.
Tower has fallen.
Question is if complexity gives them a little bit of resistance, will they stay here?
Radiant
Will they stay
structures
uphill?
are fortified.
They may until the Shadow Demon comes up, and then once the Shadow Demon, they may not. I don't know. It looks like the tier 3 is going to be down though.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Now they're going after the melee racks.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
The glyph has already been used, so
Radiant's middle barracks
eHug
has
punishing,
fallen.
taking the melee racks there, and now playing some good, responsible Dota. Really good discipline there coming out from eHug as they're just going to back away and say, you know what? We came here, we broke the base, we got the melee racks, we don't have any reason to stay longer. We got what we came for. Yeah, it would have been nice had we gotten the range racks, but in the end, it's going to have a very small impact on this game moving forward. The melee racks is the big one. We got it. Let's make sure that we don't throw this away. Let's back away and regroup and take advantage of our newfound advantage. It's a battle of the Shadow Blades here on the bottom lane. Infinity will pop his and run away, as I think Zizzy engaged with his. Indeed he did. Let's quickly bring up our net worth. We haven't really looked at it too much this game, but it's 10,000 gold in favor of eHug, as I think we all had a pretty good idea that eHug was ahead in this one. And take a look at XP. About 7,500 in favor of eHug. When you take a look at the kills, it's pretty even, 15 to 18, but the way that complexity's kind of been staying in this game is on the back of a lot of buybacks. And that's not a strategy that's going to continue to work for you as you go further and further into the game. You're just going to keep spending most of the gold that you're earning on buybacks. And that isn't gold that's been earned that's going towards net worth. That's gold that just disappears. It's gone. And this should show it. As we take a look at the gold earned. And you can see eHug isn't that far ahead of complexity, which is kind of surprising that it's actually going that way. Sorry, what I just said didn't make any sense, so let's rewind. You see, when you look at the gold earn graph, you can see eHug, they are clearly, through kills and through farming the map, they have gotten a little bit of an advantage. About 6,000, maybe almost 7,000 there. Has gone their way. But when you actually switch it over to net worth, you see the effect of those buybacks, and it's added an extra 3,000, if not more, gold on the side of eHug. And it actually hasn't, I shouldn't say added, it's added a net worth advantage on the side of eHug, but it's actually not because eHug's gotten more gold. It's as a result of complexity essentially throwing away some of theirs. So they're losing the gold, and that's what's creating the difference. We'll take a quick look, quick cycle through the items, as I know I've been talking about a bunch of different stuff, and we haven't really been as close to following those as maybe we would have liked. As we've got Egg Scepter, Mech, and Yasha on the side of Viper. We've got Force Staff getting picked up by Fly. Picked that up right as he respawned when that mid Rax was getting pushed. The Slark, SNY, BKB, Shadowblade, still the Hand of Midas as well. Z-Freak with the Egg, Scepter, and the Yules. He's also holding on to a gem, but here we go. We got another fight brewing. As Swindlemelons is going to be the focus target for the side of eHug, and he's going to get dropped really quickly. Z-Freak is going to take quite a bit of damage, but he's going to be able to blink away. Zizu has gone down as well, and that's going to put Gamer123 on a godlike streak, or a beyond godlike streak is what it should be called. Fly getting picked off there as well by Gamer123 to kind of further that that streak. And oh, the
Radiant's
long
bottom
ball
tower
from
is
Gamer
under
123 from downtown as he jumps onto the Slark. Unfortunately, when he gets there, he doesn't have any mana. So yeah, he did a decent amount of damage with the ball lightning,
Radiant's
but
bottom
not
tower
able
has fallen.
to deal any further damage with
Radiant's
an electric
bottom
vortex
barrack- Radiant's bottom
and
barracks has
static
fallen.
remnant.
Radiant's bottom barracks has
Kirill will
fallen.
fly in and deliver another item to this Spirit Breaker. Oh my goodness. The item progression
Dire's
is actually
top
quite
tower
impressive
is
coming
under
out from
attack.
Infinity, as he's going to add a halberd onto his item list.
Tis mine.
And we are going to have a Basher coming out for the Slark. Let's take a look at our Night Stalker. How close is he getting to that Egg Scepter? Still 750 or so away. That'll actually do a
Dire's
lot for
top
complexity.
tower
It'll give
is
them a lot of
under
vision,
attack.
help them set up for team fights a little bit better. Of course, we've seen eHug and their ability just to kind of jump or engage on you from afar. And it's not really from afar, but Infinity with the charge in feels like it's coming from a long distance. Of course, Gamer 123 is balling from a long way out. But we are going to have another fight here as Fly is going to take a fall. Infinity getting quite low, pops the BKB and is able to back away, but Swinamon's again dropping early on in the fight. Zizzo dropping as well, as they try and chase after Z-Freak here, who did a little bit of counter warding there, drops the Observer ward. And Gamer123 keeps going, as Z-Freak has blinked. Gamer123's out of mana, but unfortunately,
Radiant's middle barracks
Z-Freak
are under
has
attack.
run into the Lycan, and that's going to mean that he's going to go down. Now Zizzy's focusing down Sorrow, and he almost got the kill there. Sorrow actually had nowhere to go because Gamer123 was blocking his path. But the Slark, unfortunately, goes down before he's able to get one more auto attack off to finish off that Lycan. And it's a 5-man
Radiant's
wipe.
middle barracks are
You see
under
that
attack.
gold swing, 3,000 gold straight up, but complexity also losing 2,200. In the end, it's about 5,200
Radiant's
gold
middle barracks has
advantage
fallen.
for eHug. On the back of that, we get a Shiva's Guard getting picked up by the Storm Spirit to go with his Lincoln Sphere, 22 charge Bloodstone, and the Yule Scepter and Aegis as well. MJW has gone for a Yule Scepter and he's got a little bit of a casual vitality booster. We got Gamer123 jumping on Fly once again. This time Fly will be able to disrupt himself, and he almost gets back to the fountain, and actually he will. He will get back to the fountain thanks to that uphill. They won't be able to see him, and this is going to be a little bit of a turnaround. Maybe Gamer123's gone a little bit too deep here, as it's not over yet. Yeah, you've got 2 lanes of racks down, but don't go throwing. And Dago's holding on to a gem. I think this one looks like it's just going to be over. The glyph will get popped by complexity. But on the back of that, eHug's just going to be able to destroy these racks. Fly will get jumped on by Gamer123 one more time, and this time it will secure him the kill. Now Gamer123 Euls himself. That's the value of that Euls. You can't really focus. It's weird. It gives you a little bit of a playstyle, kind of like how Death Prophet was played before, where all of a sudden you're going to try to go on the Death Prophet, just Euls yourself, and then you're just kind of sitting there. It's like, do we just wait for the Euls? Do we wait the 2.5 seconds for her to land and then engage? That's a long time to wait in a team fight. We obviously have to move on and start focusing different targets. So it's interesting. It creates a different playstyle for the Storm Spirit, but I am growing to like it. But either way, we will see eHug take this victory, and that's certainly going to mix things up in the group here. As well, not today's at 2-1. We already know that's where they're finishing. They've already played all their games. But with complexity losing this, now complexity's at 1-1. eHug has finished their games, so they sit at 1-2, or sorry, 2-1. Excuse me. And now Rebeldes is at 0-1, or 0-2 as. Fortunately, the phone's ringing in the background. Let's try to mute that for you guys. But this will put us in an interesting position right now. So we've got our final game between Complexity and Rebeldes. And what does this mean? This could actually. I think there is a possibility if Rebeldes goes with the upset here. I'm just actually going to write this down here to make sure I am getting it right and telling you guys the right stuff. But yeah, so right now, eHug and compLexity are tied. Or no, eHug just won again. What am I... Oh god, I'm losing it, guys. I'm confused. Whatever, I'll figure out what's going on. Either way, I'll tell you at the start of next game. I can't wrap my head around it. I'm thinking about too many things, and apparently most of them are the wrong things. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the game. Hopefully you guys follow me on all my channels. I'm just gonna go to break because everything I'm gonna say from this point on isn't gonna work out for me. So hit those follow buttons. Follow me on my channels. Follow this the mainstream for Dota 2 and all, or for the Dota 2 Canada Cup and all that stuff. I'll be back in about 15 minutes. Our next game starts at 8:30. And hopefully you'll stick around. Hopefully this hasn't made you run away. But I will have an idea of what's going on in the tournament. I promise. But we'll have compLexity versus Rebel Desk coming up in just over 15. Thanks for watching.